Hey guys, this is Ada coming in with a quick word. The word today is your call or purpose does not have anything to do with your human weakness, but it's all about the sovereign will of God. It's all about the sovereignty of God. And the scripture reference for those who want to go in and read for themselves come from Genesis 12. And we know that God called Abraham away from his family of origin and told him to go to a place that he would show him, because Abraham was from the land of Ur and they believe in worshiping idols. And so God wanted to establish the nation of Israel, but he was going to use Abraham to do it. And Abraham first had to leave his family of origin and everything that he was familiar with, guys. So go back and watch the video on familiar spirits. Everything that he was familiar with. So we know on the journey that Abraham came to Egypt. And the Egyptians thought that Sarai was very beautiful, so Pharaoh took her into his harem. And we know the Lord cursed Pharaoh's household because of Sarai. And so Abraham lied and said that Sarai was his sister out of fear. And so that human weakness of fear, it rose up. And so Abraham did what he had to do to save himself. But later on, God's sovereign will superseded that human weakness. And of course, we know Pharaoh put Abraham and Sarah away, and he gave them all kind of cattle and silver and gold, and they left. And so the next incident, we see Abraham come to another place where Abimelech sees Sarah, and she's beautiful, and he wants to take her into his harem. But then the Lord warned him in a dream that this is his prophet's wife. So he sent them away with all types of riches. So by this time, Abraham is a very rich man. And the next thing we see Abraham in, they're waiting the promise, because God has promised him a son. But he and Sarah is getting old. So Sarah has a bright idea to give Hagar, her maid, to her husband so that they can have a child. And so that would be the child of the promise. But that wasn't God's plan. So even though God blessed Ishmael, and because he was Abraham's seed, but the child of the promise is Isaac. So later on, Sarah in her old age and Abraham's old age give birth to Isaac, which is the child of the promise. And by then, the Lord is ready to test Abraham again. So he tells Abraham to take his only son and sacrifice him. And Abraham, by this time, is so assured of God's faithfulness that he is willing to sacrifice his only son, because he believed that even if he sacrificed his son, that God would raise him up again. That's how strong his faith was in God. So I said all that to say this, guys. And of course, we know the story. We know that God stopped Abraham. He didn't have to sacrifice his son. But we know that tells us, that it's not about your human weakness. It's all about God's sovereign will for your life. So when the accusers come in and they say, well, they didn't come from the right family, or they did this or they did that, it's all about God's sovereign will and his plan for your life. So with that being said, guys, if this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you feel someone else can benefit, please share it.